Hello YouTube and welcome to episode 1 of our latest Discord.js series. And today this is my first lesson doing a voice tutorial, so sorry if I mess up a lot or anything. I'm not really used to doing this. So basically you want to start by setting up our workspace for our bot. So obviously you've got to install Node.js and stuff, which we're going to skip that in this tutorial. You'll have to figure that out on your own, but from there obviously you want to use npm init to create our workspace, and then we can install discord.js. So npm I discord.js/discord.js, and this will install master. If you get an error when running that command, you need to install something called git, which I'll leave in the description for you. You can also install stable, but the series will be using master. To install stable, it will be npm I discord.js. We're going to create a config.js file. From here, this will be where we export our token owners and prefix. So you want to use exports.token, which create a variable. Do not leak a token to anyone. And then owners will be an array. And anyhow, you want to put your own user ID, which I'll do that later on. And then you want a prefix for your bot. So in my case, I like to use a comma. And that is it there. Before we jump back into the tutorial, I have to show you Hostbend. Hostbend is the hosting company who run our infrastructure. We are partnered with them, and they offer shared hosting, reseller hosting and virtual private servers, all perfect for your bot. If you want to host a website for your bot, you want shared hosting. If you want to host a bot, you want a virtual private server. Each virtual private server has its own specifications which you can customize. If you're not happy with what they provide, you can make a special request in a support ticket. We even have our own code, as I will show you right now. The code is Voltrex, and you hit redeem and you get 25% off. That is very good, and that applies to all services including shared hosting. So why not choose Hostbend? Anyway, let's get back into the video. We are done with that file, and as you can see, discord.js is installed. Now we're going to move on to our index.js, which will be our main file which runs when we start the bot. So we only want the token and the prefix from our config file. Now this is called object destructuring. So we don't want the owners yet, we only want that in the message.js file. So we're about to do the same with the discord.js library, like so. So now we can do const client equals new client, which create a new instance of a client, and with our client options we can disable everyone, stop the bot mentioning everyone. Shard count is not really important unless your bot becomes big, and then we'll disable the type and start events since it's just a waste, don't need it. And then we're going to cache the prefix into our client to make it easily accessible in other files. And we'll also create a new collection for our commands, like so. Right, now we want to make our commands and events loader. So first let's just create our commands folder and our events folder, and we'll create a structures folder. Now first let's make the command handler file, so command.js const reader sync equals require fs, and we want to get join from path. Let's install path npm I path. Nice and simple stuff. And then we want file path. So basically this is going to work on Linux, Windows, anything. It'll just get the exact file path for it. Nice and easy stuff. Use module.exports.run client. So this create a new run function that we can use in our other file in a minute, as I'll show you. So we're going to create a for loop, const cmd of reader sync file path, and we're going to filter, and we're going to make sure that the file ends with .js, otherwise it will just ignore the file. So const prop equals require, and we're going to require the actual file if it exists, and then we're going to do client.commands.set prop.help.name, and I'll show you where .help.name comes from later on when we create a command. And we'll do simple console.log loaded client.commands.size commands to let us know how many commands have been loaded. And now in our index file we can require that file that we just made. So let's say const commands equals require structures command, and then we can do commands.run. So as you can see, property, there you can see there's a run function right there, and then we just simply want to pass our client through it, through the parameters, as you can see right here. So you've got the run function and client going through the parameters. Now let's make our events loader. So very similar to what we just did, except this time we're doing events. So again we want reader sync from equals require fs, so we're getting reader sync from fs again, and join from path. Then we want the file path again, same way as we've done it before, except this time it's going to be events. So it'll be this folder we created here. Then module.exports.run again. Again the client once again. Now you want const event files equals reader sync file path, and then we want to create another for loop for event file, event file of event files. Yeah, that's right. Honestly, that's a bit redundant. We can just, yeah, we can do that. Then we can do const event equals require file path / event file, and then we're going to get an event name on its own. So we'll use event.split no my bad, we want event file.split. I knew something weren't right there. And then shift. So this basically knock off the .js at the end of the file, leaving only the name. So if we want the ready event, we're going to have a ready.js file. Then when it gets that file, remove the .js from the end, leaving it just ready. So we client.onReady. So that's what we want to do here. Client.on event name. Then event.bind null client. And then we'll do another console.log again, like in the last file, loaded. That's why we made it into a variable up here. That makes a lot more sense now. So my bad there. Event files, we're using .length events, and then same again as we did earlier. So const events equals require structures event. Then we do events.run, passing the client through once again. And now we can just log in like that. Done. Now our next file that we want to create will be our message event. So we're going to do message.js in the events folder. And we only want the owners this time from our config file. So we come from the config file, so stepping back a directory. Then we want module.exports. And let be client and a message. So we want to make sure we're ignoring bots. So if message.author.bot return, and we want to make sure it has permissions to even reply to any messages. So yeah, we'll do that check in a minute. So we want to define our arguments, which will be anything that comes after the command. So let's do this message.content.split and use a regular expression right here, like so. Then we want to just have the command, so that'll be args.shift.slice client.prefix.length. I'm going to turn that to lowercase, just for handling basically, so you can use either the capital prefix or lowercase. For example, you can use a capital B/ as a prefix and a lowercase b/. And then we get the actual command file itself out of our collection. Then we want to check that it even starts with a prefix, so if message.content.to lowercase starts with client.prefix return, so that make sure it won't run any further if your message doesn't start with a prefix. Now you want to do if there is no command, we'll just return. This is where we do our permission check now. If message.guild.me.permissions.has manage messages, send messages, return that, handle some errors for missing permissions. If cmd.requirements if cmd.requirements.owner only and owners doesn't include the message.author.id, then we want to return a message reply. Only the bot owner can use this command. Right, now I want to create a function just for formatting purposes. This isn't really required, but we're going to do it anyway. So you want member and permissions. So this is a function, ES6 function. And then we're going to do const missing perms as a variable. Member.permissions.missing perms, and then we want to map that. So we'll take a string, and it gets a bit fiddly here now, so follow very carefully what I'm typing. So we're going to use string.replace, which is a function. Then we're going to use /_/g, following very carefully. Then we're going to put a nice space there in between two quotations. Then after the bracket, the closing bracket, we're going to do two lowercase, which is a function, and then replace again, which is a function. Then we're going to do a //b, open and close bracket, in between that bracket, a /w, getting very fiddly here. /G, then we do a comma, then we type in car into an arrow function, car to uppercase, which is a function. Like that. So it's very fiddly there, so as long as you know what I was saying and everything, you should be all good. Then we want to return the missing perms, so we're going to use now what we call a ternary operator. So if it's greater than 1, it's going to return missing perms.slice 0 minus 1, and then we'll join that with a comma, and then we'll put and missing perms dot slice minus 1 index of 0. Otherwise it'll just return missing perms index of 0, which would be the only missing permission. Now that's our function done there. Now our next check is if cmd.requirements has user perms, and message.member.permissions.has cmd.requirements.user perms. If they don't have them permissions, return a message reply. You must have the following permissions. Missing perms, then we're going to pass through the message.member, aka the author, and the permissions are required, like so. Then we're going to do a similar check, but instead with the bot this time. So if cmd.requirements.clientPerms and message.guild.me.permissions.has, then we're going to pass through cmd.requirements.clientPerms. We will return a message reply. I am missing the following permissions. I means the bot, by the way. Then we want missing perms, message.guild.me, cmd.requirements.clientPerms. So there's that one. And then we should be able to just run, to be safe to run the command from there, which will be passing through the client, the message and the arguments. Now I make life very easy for us. Now I want to create our ready event, which executes when the bot is online and ready. So similar again, our handler works, module.exports, and we're passing through the client. I just simply want a console.log. This is client.user.tag. Easy. Now let's make our command just a test command, which would be a ping command. So we want to create a new file in the commands folder called ping.js, and we'll use module.exports.run equals client message args, what we pass through the parameters basically, and we have our run function. So in here we had a run function there. So cmd is our command file. In a minute we're going to define requirements and user perms and everything. Just watch closely. So this simply do message.reply pong, and then client.ws.ping to fixed 2 milliseconds. Then we can do module.exports.help, which would be a name ping, and we do a description because why not? A simple ping command, why not? So this comes from our commands loader. So you got prop.help.name. So you got help.name. And now we're going to define our requirements for the message.js. So we're going to have user perms. It doesn't require any permissions. We're going to have client perms. Again, doesn't require any since we're already checking send messages in our message.js file. And then owner only, oh whoops, I forgot a comma. Owner only we'll make this false since I haven't defined my ID in the config.js. Normally I'd put it as true. And then from here we should be ready to run our bot. We run a bot by doing node index.js. We have an error. Okay, so earlier, I don't know why this is getting an error, to be honest. We're just going to take the shard count out. That's not important unless you've got a big bot. There you go, loaded one command, 2 events, and there's my bot's tag. Now let's go test the bot. Here we are now testing the bot, so we should now be able to do ping. And there's the horrible ping right there. That is absolutely dreadful, but the bot works. So thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you again in episode 2. Have a lovely day.